Since the new 3DS is out in America finally, selling for $200, I thought I might as well do this video, which might be a little bit interesting. Today, I'm going to compare the new Nintendo 3DS with a $20 disposable prepaid smartphone. The kind you can get at Walmart for literally $20? Well, here's a smartphone that Walmart is selling right now for just $20. Not 30, not 40, not 100, not 150, not 200, but only $20. Now, I chose this $20 smartphone for a reason, and when you see the new Nintendo 3DS's specifications, you're going to understand why I chose it, because this is like comparing the Wii to an Xbox 360 all over again. So let's start by showing you the specifications of the new 3DS. Now, first off, here's the specifications of the new 3DS. The system has both an ARM9 and an ARM11, both dated CPU cores, with the ARM9 being for backwards compatibility. This is something that both Sony did with the PlayStation 2 and what Nintendo did with many of their handhelds, as the Game Boy Advance had a Z80 processor and Game Boy sound channels in it for backwards compatibility, along with the Nintendo DS having an ARM7 along with its ARM9 processor, and it used the ARM7 processor for both sound and backwards compatibility with the Game Boy slot. And even the DSi kept this CPU just because it was a sound CPU for DS games. And of course, the specs of this device aren't that great. It has a quad-core processor, which is only an ARM11 design, which isn't even ARM v7. I think it's like an older version of the ARM architecture. I know my old HTC phone, which doesn't even have a touchscreen. It only has a trackball and a keypad. It's basically a BlackBerry clone. That has an ARM11 CPU as well. So this is dated technology. In the RAM, it has about as much RAM as a 4th gen iPod Touch. However, the video chip isn't even an improvement. As you can see, it still has 6 megabytes of video RAM along with 4 more megs of additional video memory, I guess. The specs of the original 3DS are barely different. Look at these specs. These specs are just as bad, basically slightly worse, but this system has an excuse at least because it came out all the way back in 2011. And this only has a dual-core version of the ARM11, still running at the same slow clock speed, half the memory, and of course, well, it doesn't really have very much memory whatsoever in the whole system. But the point of this video isn't just to show how little of an improvement the new 3DS is over the old one. Oh no, it's even bigger than that. You see, I'm going to show you the specs of the $20 smartphone, and you can see just how underpowered and overpriced the new 3DS is. So let's take a look at them. So first, let me tell you the system's disadvantages over the 3DS. The disadvantage is the screen, as the system only has a smaller screen and one of them instead of 2 screens like the Nintendo 3DS does. Though then again, what's the point of having 2 screens considering how the 2-screen thing is kind of a gimmick actually, and well, many games make use of the top screen and not the bottom screen. And the other main disadvantage is the fact that this thing lacks controls, though you can buy Bluetooth controllers. Now, here's the advantages this $20 phone has over the 3DS. The system not only has built-in network support for, let's just say the cellular networks, such as GSM, UMTS, HSPA, 3G, whatever you want to call it. It also has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and the Wi-Fi is actually wireless N, as the new 3DS, despite coming out this year, does not support wireless N. Imagine that, this new gaming console does not support wireless N. Think about that for a second. The system also has twice the memory, more storage than the Nintendo 3DS does. Of course, not all of it's usable, but at least there's some. And it has a micro SD card slot on the side of it, so you can just plug it in and without even having to use a screwdriver. You don't even need a screwdriver to put a micro SD card in this either. And of course, it has a messaging system, something the 3DS lacks, working with SMS, multimedia messages, email, and of course, messaging apps you download because cell phones have stuff like Skype and of course Steam's Instant Messenger. There's at least an Xfire client if anybody still uses that for instant messaging, along with clients for AIM and other stuff. And did I mention the screen doesn't require a stupid stylus but works with your fingers and it's multi-touch as well? Well, the 3DS's, on the other hand, is only a single touch resistive screen that works only with a stylus. I mean, you can use a finger, but the user interface is not designed for your fingers, and neither is the screen considering the size of it. And did I even mention that this cheap $20 cell phone comes with a charger and USB cable as well? The new 3DS, on the other hand, doesn't come with either. And that's pretty bad, especially considering how you're supposed to have a charger with nearly every electronic device, and yet the new 3DS wants you to buy it separately. That's blatant nickeling and diming, people. And did I mention that Android is better supported among both game developers and emulator developers as well? So you can run emulators like RetroArch on this phone, but you can also do other cool stuff you can't do on the 3DS too, such as play Western games that are not being made on the 3DS anymore. I mean, have you ever noticed how both, like, let's just say, the 3DS and the Vita are being snubbed in favor of Android phones? I mean, you can't find Grand Theft Auto or Knights of the Old Republic on your 3DS, but you can on your Android phone. So here's the question I'm going to ask. Why is it with the PC, when it has better hardware than consoles, people scream PC Master Race? But yet when it's cell phones and tablets having better hardware than handhelds, people insist on clinging to their 3DS or the Vita. Because let's be honest here, the new 3DS doesn't really have any big upcoming games that are worth talking about. I mean, what? The game that came out today, Majora's Mask 3D? It's yet another re-release of a game that's been released several times, at least 3 times already, maybe even more, but I don't know. But still, you get the point. The 3DS does not have many big upcoming games, while cell phones, on the other hand, they can be programmed to do whatever you want. You don't even need to get a developer license to make your own Android apps. You do with 3DS, and you have to go through all this stuff to do it. That's all I have to say, really. Thanks for watching, and subscribe for more.